If you want to learn more about American liberty through the context of American history, go to my friends over at patriotpost.us. Sign up today and download your free copy of the Patriots Primer on American Liberty through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the now former captain of the USS Roosevelt, Brett Crozier, being relieved of duty by the U.S. military. Now, this is a pretty deep story, and there's a lot to get through. So I'm going to start from the very beginning so you understand exactly what's going on and why he was relieved of duty. Now, the China virus, coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, is wreaking havoc all over the planet, and the U.S. Navy are not immune from it. On the ship, which is massive, by the way, 5,000 crew, on that ship, about 100 of them got sick and they have the virus. Now, there are a lot of things happening to try and get them off of the ship safely and appropriately. However, apparently the captain, Crozier, did not think things were going quickly enough, and he wanted the best for his sailors. So he wrote a 5-page letter and sent it out to some friends that were on shore. 15 minutes later, the letter winds up in the media on the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, this is totally wrong for a lot of different reasons. First of all, chain of command is everything in the military. I'm not in the military. I'm not a veteran, just put it out there. But I know a little bit about the military. I know guys that are in the military, and chain of command is dead serious. It's not a game. You can get locked up, actually, for not following chain of command. And that's what he did. He broke chain of command. That's the first thing. He said that he submitted requests to get these sailors some help because they're sick. And, you know, of course, they're in the water. He wants to dock somewhere. He went to Vietnam and they shouldn't have gone to Vietnam. Some guys got off. It's a whole different thing. Anyway, he said he submitted requests to get these guys some help, but his superior was literally like 2 doors down from him on the ship. And he says he did not get any kind of requests from Crozier. So either his superior is lying, either Crozier is lying, or maybe the orders or requests didn't go to his superior. If not, then who did it go to? Either way it goes, you can't do what he did. Breaking chain of command is bad enough if it's internal, but then not only do you break chain of command, you go to the media with a 5-page letter. Is that a plea for help, or are you trying to just dish out propaganda? You're trying to dish out misinformation, or you're trying to embarrass the Navy. You're trying to put the crew of the ship in jeopardy. What are you really trying to do when you do something like that? Now, the controversy comes in because a lot of sailors on the ship and a lot of people in the military in general did not want him to get relieved, or they had compassion for him. Now, the reason why I say or is because they may understand why he did what he did. They may have some kind of empathy, some compassion for him. That does not necessarily mean that they think he shouldn't have been removed from duty. Okay, because although you may understand why he did what he did, it doesn't make what he did right. You still got to face consequences for your action. And everybody knows that. If you are a captain on a nuclear powered warship with the crew that size, you would think you're going to be competent enough to understand the UCMJ, the military law. And you would think that if you understand that and you're in that position, you wouldn't just do whatever you want to do and expect to not get reprimanded or relieved from duty. Simple as that. Now, of course, many in the mainstream media are on this guy's side. I think I saw this guy named Malcolm Nance talking about, oh, Crozier should be the next Secretary of the Navy. Why? Why should he be Secretary of the Navy? I mean, I don't really understand, because what he did, if you're on that level, I mean, you can really get in some serious, you might go to GITMO for that. You're talking about the security of the nation, because let's be clear, right now in America, we're struggling, and quite frankly, we're kind of vulnerable to outside attack. The U.S. military have the #1 goal of protecting the U.S. If You having kind of a mutiny on board and you sending stuff to the media. You're going to Vietnam when you're not supposed to. You're doing all these kind of crazy things. You make our security less secure. You expose us to the world. And you send out this letter with things about the ship, things that aren't necessarily classified, but things that shouldn't be given to the media. You know, sensitive information about the ship. You're doing things that are just totally wrong here, Crozier. Now, I understand you want the best for people. I understand you're scared, but you got to do things right regardless. It doesn't really matter. Okay, if you're a police officer, you got to do things right. If you are a prison guard, you might be in the middle of some kind of scary thing happening at the prison. You still got to do things right. You still have to follow the law that you signed up to follow. It's simple as that. Now, like I said, some in the media want this guy to be the Secretary of the Navy. The actual Secretary of the Navy, Motley, went to Guam, which is where the ship is right now, to address the sailors on the boat. And if you want to read the full thing, the full transcript of that speech, I'll place that in the box. But what he said was basically what I was saying is, look, I understand you love this guy and you respect him, this, that, and the third, but he can't just do whatever he wants to do. I mean, you sending letters to the media, either you're too stupid or too naive to be the captain of this ship. Because once you involve the media, they're going to take it and they're going to spin it to whatever narrative they want to have. Okay. If they are on the opposite side of the president, if they're on the opposite side of the country in the military, they're going to use that to embarrass not only you as sailors, but also the president and the country and the American people. And this makes us look even worse in the eyes of the world, which makes us more susceptible to outside attack. This is very simple. So, the right thing was done to remove that man from his post. It's simple. I don't see why anybody would say anything any different. Furthermore, there were people on shore working 15-hour days to try and get these sailors some relief that were on the ship. Okay, so it wasn't like he sent a letter out there because nothing was being done and nobody was trying to help the sailors. It wasn't like that. There were active plans in motion to get the sailors safe and healthy and to secure the actual ship. But maybe Crozier thought it wasn't happening fast enough. Maybe he got scared, or maybe he was just trying to be subversive. And if you're trying to do that in the military, big no-no, you might got to go to GITMO for that. Now, will he go to GITMO? I don't think so. I think he'll probably just get demoted in rank. Salary might be stripped away from him, at least on the captain rank. He might get the seaman level retirement at best. But he's pretty much done, because now the confidence in that particular post that he held, or at least him in that post, is gone. You got guys on shore working 15-hour days to try and get some relief to the ship. And then a letter comes out. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? Are we just working all day, not seeing our families, barely eating and sleeping? Because what's the reason? If you're going to put a letter out and demoralize us, like, what are we even doing? And then you have guys that are on the ship that aren't confident in him. He had to go. There was no other course of action than for him to go. Because if he's allowed to just write that letter, a 5-page letter, by the way, not just a simple request for help, a 5-page letter, to me, that right there seems like you're just kind of venting your frustration, and we don't have time for that. But if he's allowed to do that, then what about the next guy that does it? And the next guy, and the next guy? And what if it's higher up in the chain of command? Or even, E2, E3? You can't do that in the military. There are certain guidelines you got to follow. There are certain laws you got to follow, and they are there for a very specific reason. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Crozier should have been relieved of duty as captain of the USS Theodore Roosevelt? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or should he still be at his post? Should he still be the captain of the ship? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not military, never been in the military, but I know a little bit about law. I know a little bit about the military. My uncle was in the Navy actually for 20 years. I know how serious it is. It's, the rules you got to follow are dead serious. It's not a game at all. You're talking about national security. This ain't just, rent a cop at Walmart at night. This ain't that. You're talking about a nuclear powered warship with a crew of 5,000 with the task of protecting the United States and our interests. That cannot be trifled with. If you're not prepared to do that job, if you're not going to do things right, if you're not going to follow the rules or the law, then you got to go. Simple as that. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.